Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Today you find me in Bristol, and I've come here because I want to tell you a story about a tap. That tap, and it's rather special. On the evening of Sunday, the 24th of November 1940, 148 bombers appeared overhead and proceeded to start bombing the city of Bristol. They dropped 148 tons of high explosive. They dropped over 12,000 incendiaries. This resulted in destruction that ripped the heart out of this medieval city forever. Now, I'm not here to tell the story of that terrible night that left 207 people dead and thousands of homes ruined. That's for other people to tell. I'm here to tell you the story of this rather remarkable tap. As a result of that raid, a total of over 95 water mains were destroyed, meaning there was no tap water for the whole centre of Bristol. In fact, it wasn't until the 28th of November, several days later, that water was restored. So, in the meantime, this tap supplied the 120,000 people while they waited for that water supply to be repaired. So, the question is, how did it keep running? And to answer that, we got to go climb a hill. Let's do it. So we're leaving St Johns here in the old city, and we're going to travel across town to here, Brandon Hill, up by the university. And here we are. Welcome to Brandon Hill. And at the top of Brandon Hill, we find this, the Cabot Tower, a landmark in the city here for over 100 years with a cracking view. Amen to this, ladies and gentlemen. And it is here on Brandon Hill that I'm now stood on that the spring rises that feeds the tap back down in town. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this view, because I've climbed the top of the Cabot Tower for you. Down here you've got the town hall with the cathedral behind it. Beyond the big wheel you've got the floating dock. That's M Shed down there. As I float around here, down there is the SS Great Britain, and below us is Brandon Hill. So we're going to follow the course of the conduit from its start here on Brandon Hill to its end point, which is just above my finger. You can probably just about make the spire sticking up through the rooftops there, just to the left of that graffiti on that big building. That's the spire of St John's Church where we started. That's where we're going to walk back to, and we're going to trace the route of the conduit between here and there. It is here that the spring rises that feeds that tap we just saw down at St John's. And connecting the two is the 13th century St Johns Conduit, which is what we're here to see today. Built originally to supply the water needs of the Carmelite Friary, built on the site that is now the Colston Hall. This is a distance of around a mile. The friary has long since gone, but remarkably, the water in the conduit has flowed every day for nearly 800 years. So, what I intend to do now is follow the course of the conduit from here, Brandon Hill, all the way back down to St John's Church, to the star of this film, The Tap. This is Park Street, built during the Georgian period as a shopping area. The conduit runs along here in a tunnel 20 feet below my feet. And if we look down here, we can see evidence that the conduit is actually there. People walk up and down this street day after day after day, not knowing this piece of history is just 20 feet below their feet. literally. And as we continue to walk down Park Street, these markers in the pavement continue to tell us that we're walking on top of the conduit. And here we are, look. There's another one. Let's carry on going, because it does turn left here soon. As you can see here, several of the street names in this area are names derived from the source of the water around here. We've now turned in to Culver Street, and continuing down there, again 20 feet under our feet, is the conduit. Let's keep going. This used to be an orchard for an old hospital in medieval times around here, believe it or not. How things have changed. As we go through, I will try and find footage from several years ago to show you how this has changed, because where I'm walking today, a lot of it has changed beyond recognition. Really has. So here we are, approaching the bottom of Culver Street, where the conduit is going to take a left turn in a minute. And here we are at what is probably one of Bristol's oldest inns, the Hatchet, which was built in 1606. It says licensed there. It was actually built in 1606, presumably licensed the same year. It takes its name from tree felling in the area, apparently. And how many people drinking in this pub realise that running along the street, right outside the door of their pub, is an 800-year-old water supply? I wonder. Let's continue. Here we are in Pipe Lane. I wonder where that got its name from. St Johns Conduit crosses Pipe Lane here, and to my left is the site of what was the Colston Hall. I believe it's changed its name now, but this is the site of the friary that the water pipe was built to supply. After the dissolution of monasteries, the priory here was destroyed, and it was replaced by a house built by Sir John Young. But before that, in 1376, the Carmelites granted a feather supply to the vestry of St John's. And what, I hear you ask, is a feather supply, or a feather pipe? Let me tell you. A feather pipe was a medieval method of controlling water flow. Along with a memorandum guaranteeing the grant, a piece of feather pipe was supplied of the correct size, its diameter being equal to the diameter of the quill of a swan's feather. This, however, would have been a very small diameter, and it is thought that it refers to the diameter of a swan's feather, which equates to around about an inch, such as the sample shown here, held in the Bristol museums. Now we're turning into Host Street, formerly Horse Street. Records show that this street was newly paved in 1490 and was at one time the main road to the north from Bristol. And again, under our feet is running the now extension of the conduit. Queen Elizabeth I herself would have travelled up this street on her way to visit the house of John Young. Now we are arriving at the famous Christmas steps, another very old, very well known part of Bristol. Again, you can see how old this really is along here. Running under the road in front of us is actually the River Frome. When it was open as a river, it was crossed by the conduit on its way to its final destination, St John's Church, just over there. I'm stood here now in Culver Street, which has changed beyond all recognition even in the last 30 years, was originally called Knifesmith Street, but it was changed, they believe, in honour of the Mayor of Bristol. And in front of us is St John's Church, sitting over its gate in what was Bristol city walls. And I'm really sorry to have to tell you that the actual tap is not accessible. This Harris fencing along the side of the church here prevents access. I don't know why, but I'm gutted. I'd wanted a drink from the water today, but sadly, that's not going to be possible. I'm going to ask in the church as to why that is the case, but for there you go, we've walked the route of the conduit from the hill down to its outflux there. And it was that tap that kept people going off that raid in 1940. Sadly today we cannot gain access to the tower because apparently it's not in very good condition and they don't let people up there, which is a shame. Now St John's is an amazing church with lots of rare and unique features. So I'm going to come back and do a video of this all of its own. There were 4 churches built into the walls on each of the gates. This is the only one that still exists. And as you can see, it is actually part of what was the city wall there, look. Which would have gone on that way and would have gone on down that way. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I've just been into the church here and had a chat with a very nice man on the desk. And I asked him why on earth that Harris fencing is covering the conduit tap. And apparently Bristol City Council, in their wisdom, are having a fight with a contractor, and there's an ongoing fight with this fence being put up. It's a completely ridiculous situation and it's going to court. The fence doesn't need to be there, it's detracting from the side of the church. The place is filthy. So Bristol City Council, get your act together, get that sorted out and have some respect for your city, guys. St John's is an amazing church with lots of rare and unique features. The only remaining of 4 churches that were built into the city walls here in Bristol. So I'm going to come back and do a film on that all on its own because it deserves to be treated as a film. It's too much there to just add it on here. So we're going to come back, but for now, that's the video. I think it's fascinating that a 700-year-old at the time conduit kept everybody going during the Blitz when modern water mains were destroyed by bombs. Just shows you, doesn't it? Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to head home and put it together now. But for now, we'll see you on the next video, wherever that is. I haven't got a clue where I'm going next. No, I don't know. But I'll see you there, so do come along. But for now, bye-bye.